The RAF's last flying Avro Vulcan bomber is 30 years old. For her age, she's in excellent shape and is so adored by thousands of people across the world that she has her own fan club. Penny Bustin looks back at her history and what makes her so well loved.
Arriving with the two delta-shaped research aircraft from which she was developed, the Avro Vulcan bomber was top secret at Farnborough. She wasn't exhibited on the ground, and the only views which observers had of her were these.
The Vulcan was conceived in the late 1940s to take Britain into the nuclear age. Each one was to carry an atomic bomb. The test pilot at Farnborough in 1952 had no doubts about its future and its capabilities.
Immediately I got into her, I knew that I'd got absolute confidence and I wouldn't have any trouble at all. It's very, very easy to take off and very easy to land, and it's got fighter performance.
In 1957, the RAF formed its first operational bomber squadron equipped with Vulcans. Altogether, 130 of the B-1 and larger B-2s went into service. Ironically, the only time the Vulcan was used in anger was in the year when it left active service. In 1982, a Vulcan attacked Port Stanley airfield in the Falklands. 30 years and more than 7,000 flying hours later, this is the world's last flying Vulcan, XH-558, saved from the scrap heap to entertain thousands each year as a display aircraft. This venerable veteran is housed at Waddington in Lincolnshire. Her crew travelled to her from Marham in Norfolk before each display. This is a long-distance love affair.
I was a young lad of about 19 or 20 when I first started. I flew for about 10 years on Vulcans, and then I went into training command, became an instructor. And it was in 1984 when I was asked whether or not I'd like to fly the last Vulcan. I asked for time to consider that, and about 3 seconds later I gave them my answer, and I'm still here. It's super flying. I mean, it's licensed hooliganism, really, but all the crew that fly have got a great affection for the aircraft. The aircraft is lovingly maintained by a team of dedicated ground crew, and they do a superb job. In fact, it's probably the best looked after aircraft in the Air Force. So it's rather like an old Rolls-Royce, really.
Every 14 days, the two display captains have to prove that their flying is still up to scratch by taking the Vulcan through its paces over their home base of RAF Marham for approval by the station's commanding officer. This year, thousands of people will see the Vulcan flight at more than 27 displays across the country, culminating as usual in September at the Battle of Britain anniversary display. From our vantage point in a Hercules transport aircraft, we had a bird's eye view of the Vulcan. But this is what airshow spectators see during its normal display. Flying at around 170 miles an hour, the 7-minute routine uses up nearly 2 tons of fuel. The cost, £800.
It's probably the only large aircraft in the world that's capable of doing the sort of display that we did today, all within the airfield boundary. Plus the fact it being large and we fly it very slowly, it seems to be right in front of the crowd for most of the time. Plus the fact it makes an absolutely awesome howl, which appeals to the ladies in the audience, strangely enough. I don't know quite why.
Really, the shape of it and the size of it, it shouldn't fly. It's just such an overpowering beast when it comes in low and then he opens up the engines and the roar and the noise of it. It's just something different, you know. I've never seen or heard anything like it.
Paul Milliken's wife now accepts that she's known as the Vulcan pilot's wife.
I think he loves that Vulcan more than me, and also I think he when he sort of sees it and he's not actually flying it himself, he looks at that Vulcan the way he used to look at me years ago. But I don't mind.
Its long-term future is under active consideration with the RAF. As far as I'm concerned, this year we celebrate its 30th anniversary, and I'm just about young enough to be here, and I hope to be here still flying it on its 40th anniversary.